Okay, so this is a yoga sequence in a chair for reducing edema. So we're just going to start by bringing our attention to our breathing. We're going to have the same type of breathing throughout the whole practice. So we're going to put our hands on our stomachs and we're going to try to breathe into this area. So when you inhale, the stomach should get bigger, and when you exhale, it returns to normal. So the whole time that we're going to be doing yoga, we're going to breathe deep and low in the stomach. Almost like when you inhale, it's a sponge filling with water. When you exhale, that sponge is being contracted. And now we're going to slowly add some movement in with the head and the breath. So we're going to inhale and take it over to the right. And exhale here. Inhale back to center. And exhale to the left. Inhaling to center. Exhale to the right. Inhaling to center. And exhaling to the left. Now you can move with the pace of your own breath. You don't have to follow along exactly with me. And really focusing on keeping that breath deep and low. This helps calm the central nervous system and allows our body to stretch a little bit further. Return to center, and we're going to take the left ear to the left shoulder. Ignore our call from Shobana. And then we're going to exhale it over to the right shoulder. Inhale to center and exhale to the left. Inhaling to center and exhaling to the right. Moving with the pace of your own breath here. Returning to center, we're going to drop our chin to our chest and simply move from one side, left ear to left shoulder, rolling the chin across the clavicle to the right side, right ear to right shoulder. And again, moving with your own breath, inhaling and exhaling. Turning the head to center and allowing it to come up. We're going to do a little movement of the jaw to loosen up the face a little bit. So, you can take your hands to your temples and massage right where that jawbone inserts on both sides. Walk the fingers up to the temples. Moving underneath the eyes, opening up that sinus cavity. You can take it to the edges, inner edges of the eyebrows, and gently move across. Good. And we're going to open and close the jaw to let go of any tension we might be holding there. And then we're going to open the jaw and take the bottom jaw from left to right. kind of loosening up this area. Good. We'll move into the shoulders, starting to get some of those bigger joints moving and getting the fluid going. So we're just going to take the shoulders up and down, up to the ears and back down to neutral. Up. Being sure you're breathing. And we're going to start by rolling the shoulders back, just starting to warm up that shoulder girdle. So little tiny rolls. And you can allow those rolls to get bigger. If you want, you can involve the hands, or you can keep them flat on the legs and just do the shoulders, or you can bring the whole arm along. Turn the hands to the lap and send the shoulders forward now, rolling forward. So we're just warming up all of that fluid that likes to live back in the shoulders, likes to live in the armpits. Starting to work on this area of the body. If it's comfortable for you, you can keep your hands in your lap, allow them to come along for that forward roll, or even put them near the armpits and give a little massage while you're doing this. And bring our hands back to our lap. We're going to do a seated cat-cow. So we're going to move the spine forward and back to help start to warm up each of the vertebrae. So when you move forward, you're sending your chest forward and your head to the sky, not all the way up to the ceiling, but looking at where the point of the ceiling and the wall meet. Exhaling, pushing through the hands and rounding that shoulder blades back. So I'll turn sideways so you can see this a little bit better. So you're going to inhale and exhale. Moving with your own pace. Maybe starting a little tiny in the movement. And as you get further into it, opening up the body even more. So the shoulder blades are coming together and then they're moving apart. That's all that's happening here. And you can face forward. I'm just facing sideways so you can follow along. Returning to neutral, we're going to do something called a sun breath just to get that final direction of the shoulders. We've been moving them in a lot of different ways, but we haven't quite gotten that humeral scapular rotation yet. So we're going to have our hands in our lap. We're going to move with our own pace of breathing. Inhaling. And right as you can't inhale anymore, the hands come together. And then exhaling, and the hands return to the lap. Inhale. And exhale. So moving at your own pace here. You can make the circle as big or as small as you'd like. You're going to get the same benefits out of it. And know that today, maybe your body can make the circle a little bit smaller. And maybe tomorrow a little bit bigger. And that this is okay. Just taking it one day at a time. Okay, we're going to move to our hands. We're just going to squeeze them tight and then stretch them. So squeeze and flex them, sending the fingers back towards the face. So from the side, that's going to look like the fingers are really trying to get back. I'm just starting to warm up the joints of the hands. You don't usually give them too much attention. I'm going to really move this into the wrists, pointing your fingers towards the ground and then back towards the ceiling or your face. And we're going to rotate the wrists both towards the left. Fingers can be pretty loose here. We're starting to get those fluids moving in the wrist. This is great for carpal tunnel, sitting at a desk all day or in a chair all day, and taking it the other way. Now just pay a little attention to those fingers. We're going to move the thumb across the ball of each finger. Pinky, ring, middle, and pointer. Pointer, middle, ring, and pinky. Just giving those little tiny joints a little attention. And continuing to breathe out of the belly. Awesome. So we're going to do a couple things to open up the torso and the rib cage. We're going to start, normally this is done with a chair with arms, so if you have a chair with arms, I would recommend that. Otherwise, you can have a couple other chairs close by that you're going to use as armrests. So this is going to be a little awkward on my end, but if you could find a chair with arms or something that you can rest your arm on. So a table or a chair would be great. So we're going to go over to the left side first. So this hand can rest on the arm of a chair or the back of a chair. We'll inhale that right arm up overhead. And we're going to exhale and fall over to that right side. Really trying to open up this side of the body, breathing into each space between the ribs. And without collapsing here. So we're keeping long through the torso and coming over. And using this hand just to help support us so we're not holding too much weight up. If it's uncomfortable to have this hand up overhead, it can rest in your lap. Or it can come across the front to rest on this other hand. Or it can hang in the same position, just a little bit lower versus above the body. When you come back up, you want to make sure to turn on your core, protect your low back. You do that by pulling it into the spine and allowing that to pull you up. We're going to go to the other side. So my chair on this side's a little bit higher. So this would be if you had a high chair, you didn't want to get as far down. So play around with it, see what feels best for your body. And again, inhaling that left arm up overhead or in front of you, and exhaling over to the side. Seeing if you can breathe into this area. And that's a little uncomfortable for me. I prefer my arm lower. And as you exhale, turning on that core, coming back up through center. And we're going to do a little bit of twisting. So twisting is really, really great for the digestion, but you have to be careful that you don't hurt your low back. So you really have to use the strength of your stomach, and you're not pulling with your hands. Hands are just here to help us balance. Okay, so we're going to make sure our sit bones are on the chair and really ground down into them. Squeeze your bottom a little bit so you can send and feel that energy coming up through the spine and out of the crown of the head. And pull that belly button into the spine. So just this is a lot of work. So you can hang out here for a little bit and notice that even when you breathe from here with this area engaged, you can still breathe a little bit deeper and lower than you would normally. It might not be as big as when we started. Okay. So we're going to do some twists. We're going to engage from the core. That's the first thing to move. Then the shoulders and the neck follow. So inhaling up nice and tall. I like to have my hands in my lap. We're going to exhale and send just the core, using that to turn the body to the left. Then the shoulders will follow. And finally the head. Then the hands can rest on the legs or on a chair, whatever's comfortable for you. You're not pulling or straining in any way, just helping you remain in this position. And taking some deep breaths here. And keeping that engaged as you bring the head back first, then the shoulders, and finally the whole core. Go over to the other side, twisting from the core first, then the shoulders, and finally the neck. And keeping that belly engaged, coming back with the head, then the shoulders, and finally the core. And we're just going to do that, moving at our own pace, left to right. So inhaling up, exhaling to the side, inhaling to center, and exhaling to the side. And returning the body to center, taking the hands onto the knees. We're going to just take the chest and move it around the body. So the pelvis stays still and just the chest goes forward, around, and back. If you want to scoot up a little in your chair, and taking it the other way. So we're just loosening up a little bit more of that spine. It's a little more intense than some of the gentler stretches we did. So it's kind of like using a hula hoop. Good. And coming to center, we're going to do a little bit of work with our legs. Let me back up so you can see mine. Let's see. Okay. So we're going to straighten and lower each leg. So just straightening out in front of you and lowering. So you can keep your hands on the chair. Let's see. Get a little further back. Yeah. So really starting to use these muscles, the front of the thighs, and engaging them, tensing them a little so that you can take pressure off your kneecaps, but we're still warming up that big joint in there. We'll come back to the hips at the end of the practice because we do have to get out of the chair for that, and that's optional. So just moving at the pace of your own breath. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale, exhale. And we're going to plant both feet have the right foot out in front of us. It's hard for, let's see. There. Success. Okay. Right foot out in front, left foot out in front. We're going to point and flex. Point and flex. So you can have the legs straight or bent. I'm going to bend mine so you can see my foot. And then we're going to rotate at the ankle. Letting go of any tension here, not clenching the toes. And send it the other way. You can use a hand under the leg to support you if you'd like. And again, it's not coming up this high. You just can't see my feet otherwise. So you're gonna be more at an angle towards the ground as you're pointing and flexing, now with the right leg. And again, like with the hands, you want to point and really scrunch down. And when you flex, really send those toes back towards the face. So we're really getting some of those fluids, especially the ones that get trapped in the joints, moving here. And those little tiny joints, when you crunch those toes too, and flex those toes, because this area doesn't get much movement. And we're going to rotate at the ankle one way, and send it back the other. One more seated posture here. So you have a couple options for this. It's called the seated 4. You can have a smaller chair in front of you if that feels good to you. Or you can skip this pose altogether and you can have a little assistance as well. So you're going to take this left leg and you can either leave it right here, just crossed under the knee or further down the leg, wherever you can. Or if it's possible for you today, bringing it across the thigh like you would crossing your legs. You can flex at the foot. You should feel a stretch in your bottom on the left side, and keeping your back straight and your core turned on, exhaling and bending over the foot. So that's really stretching your bottom here. You can bring that foot down from on top of the leg or from on the shin. And then we're going to point. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me. This side looks better. And we're going to point the toes. Office is a little small. And point the toes of this foot up. So you're still facing forward. Heel on the ground, and this should give you a stretch here through the calf. You're just going to bend down over that leg. And then come up to setting. You're still facing forward. I'm just going sideways to demonstrate. Left leg comes across here. A little support underneath to keep the leg up, or that's where you can use that extra chair to just rest the foot right in front of you. Or if you can, taking that ankle to thigh, flexing the foot, sending the knee down, inhaling and expanding up, and exhaling and folding forward. Now feeling the stretch on your right bottom side. I'm going to do the same thing with this right foot that we did with the left. You can still face forward. I'm facing sideways just to demonstrate. That right foot coming out straight. Heel on the floor. And just bending over the foot so that you can feel a stretch, maybe a little bit here, but you're looking to have these toes pointing back towards the face. So you can feel that stretch in the calf. Coming back up. Now we're going to do the one standing posture. So you want to get behind the back of your chair. Both feet facing forward. We're going to take the right leg and step it back. And that left leg is going to come close to the chair. We're going to bend at the left knee. Both hips are facing the chair. And then we're going to bend the right knee too. So if you can send it a little bit further back. So both hips forward, bent in that left knee. And then allowing that right knee to drop and your tailbone, instead of pointing back, is going to point down. There we go. So you should feel the stretch here, front of the hip, where the hip connects. And this doesn't have to be a big stretch. It can be right in here, as long as you're sending those hips forward and you're feeling it right here. This muscle gets really tight from sitting a lot or standing a lot, any kind of stagnant pose where you're not really moving much, and that tension radiates into that low back. So this can be really relieving for pain. And it's a big joint that really doesn't get too much attention in stretching. And we're going to push through this left leg to come back to standing. Step the right leg in, left leg back, squaring those hips up again with the chair, just making sure they're pointing forward. Bending into that right leg. And bending into the left. So now the stretch is in this other hip back here. So again, to get the stretch, as you move the hips forward, this tail tucks under. So the hips forward and the tail tucks. And then we're just going to hold this pose. So you can either be back here in a lunge, or take a smaller lunge. Either way is fine as long as you're getting the stretch. And really holding onto this chair for stability and balance. This is an awkward position. And we can exhale, push through the feet and come to standing. And that's the end of the practice. We'll just check back in with our breathing and make sure we're in the right place. So breathing low and deep, and trying, when you inhale, just allowing the belly to expand. Another way to check in is to see if your ribs are expanding. So when you inhale, that rib cage should come out. It's also sometimes nice to keep one hand on the heart and one on the belly, and feel as you inhale first into the belly, and then the chest lifts, and as you exhale, the chest comes in, and then the belly comes in. And that is our chair practice. I will also be recording one hopefully soon when I can figure out how to get this computer onto a bed or on the floor. That would be the same thing, yoga for edema, but in the bed. But you can use any of the moves we did today and just do the same thing on your back. So, for example, the sun breath, breathing in and out like this, can be done lying flat on your back and your hands just in front of you, and your muscles are still working the same way. All right.